Right, welcome ladies and gents. Let's talk The Flash. So this was released yesterday, pretty much worldwide, in fact, so this will be my review. We'll talk as non-spoilers as possible. A lot of this movie has leaked out online anyway. A lot of people know everything that happens, but I will cover this review as non-spoiler as possible. Then right at the end, we'll start touching on a little bit of the spoilers. So straight from the off, and I tweeted about this this morning, so if you don't follow me over on Twitter, please do, at Mr. H Reviews. You kind of get my initial thoughts on things. Look, I actually liked it substantially more than I thought I was going to, but it's not perfect, and it's by no means the best or greatest, can't remember the direct quote from James Gunn, the greatest superhero ever made. It's definitely not that, but it is far better than I thought it was going to be. Far, far better. And actually, and you'll know I'm telling the truth because I absolutely despise the chap, a lot of that is just down to Ezra Miller. His performance in this is actually very, very good. Genuinely very good. I mean, he plays a really annoying character, but the heartfelt, touching moments sort of juxtaposed between that annoying character is actually really, really great. The dude can act. It's just a shame that he's a psycho weirdo mentalist that, you know, has been going on a rampage assaulting people through Hawaii. But yeah, I genuinely liked his performance in this film. Thought it was pretty decent. So what is this story about? What is the film about? Well, it's kind of, I mean, how do we sort of touch on this? It's kind of Flashpoint, kind of not. It's also kind of Superman Red Sun, kind of not. It's a bit all over the place, to be fair. And you know what? You do really feel the fact that this has had lots and lots of reshoots. That's one of the main issues with this, is that there's weird lumpy elements where the pace just sort of veers off, where you can see that they were going to do something and then they flicked and did something else instead. And I will say, I'm sort of compliment sandwiching this. I'm going compliment, negative, compliment. The CGI is awful. It's actually some of the worst CGI I've seen in a very, very, very long time, which is downright unforgivable for a film that has been finished for years to have that bad CGI. I'm talking worse than some, like substantially worse than video games, because video games have good CGI. It was substantially bad CGI. So yeah, interesting. So what's the story? Well, like I said, it's kind of a cross between Flashpoint and Red Sun, but when Superman's not there, it's actually Supergirl. There you go. And it's kind of Man of Steel rehashed cross Flashpoint thing. It's kind of all over the place, and some of it doesn't make too much sense. So we're introduced to our opening scene with Ben Affleck's Batman, Barry Allen, Ezra Miller's The Flash, gonna go save a hospital. Ben Affleck's Batman is chasing down the criminals. It's the Flash's job to go save the hospital. And there's some good sequences with time in this, but they're all very heavy CGI, and the CGI is bad. So there's this scene where there's these babies falling down off of a hospital wing, and they look like mashed potato. They're so bad. The CGI is atrocious. Like worse than BioShock. Right? Like the first BioShock. Worse than that. Genuinely terrible CGI. Why? This film's been done for years. You could have refined this. You weren't rushing anyone. And then from there, Barry Allen goes home, gets on the phone to his dad because he has his appeal coming up. So those familiar with Flashpoint will know. He goes back in an effort to save his mother, stop her from dying, and obviously save his father in the process. So that is the Flashpoint element. So he gets on the phone, but then there's something lost in translation at that point. And this is a slight spoiler, but it's not, I guess. He's on the phone to his dad, and then he goes through the Speed Force. But then it's almost like he was having a dream at the same time, but then he knows he can do it. And it's not fully explained, and it's very strange. Didn't make much sense to me, quite frankly. And then he has a conversation with Ben Affleck's Batman about how he can go back in time. He could save everyone. He could save Batman's parents. He could save his own parents. And so he does. And then lurking in the Speed Force is something that knocks him out of a chrono ball, and then he's stuck in time. And then that's the movie, basically. Man of Steel starts happening, and he has to go find Batman, go find Superman. Oh no, wait, it's not Superman. Oh no, wait, it's not Batman, it's Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton's actually really good in this, if a little wooden, but that's because of his age. Like, he's physically wooden, you know. But it's good to see him. He is very, very good in this, from what we see, and it's nice to see him back. Is it worth it to see him in the movie just to go out and watch it? Because there's a lot of people that will be going just to watch him. I think if you're a massive Michael Keaton fan, it might be worth it for you, genuinely. If you really hate Ezra Miller and you're a Michael Keaton fan, I don't know if it would be worth it for you, but honestly, Ezra Miller did a pretty bang-up job in this. Anyway, they all band together. He finds his younger version of himself, which is incredibly obnoxious, and he's sort of learning that he is that as well. You know, he understands what people say about him now, that he needs to shut up, wind it down, stop being so obnoxious. Which is a little bit on the nose, given, of course, what had happened in real life, where he was assaulting people and things like that. Because it's the movie story kind of parallels a little bit of actual real life, where he has been so abrasive and obnoxious, and, you know, someone that needs to learn from his transgressions. But obviously, you know, the movie version actually does learn. Ezra Miller actually hasn't. So it's a little bit on the nose, and obviously they didn't plan that. That just is what it is, because of Ezra Miller being that sort of individual. And then Zod comes back. Zod's barely in this. Is it worth it to see Zod? No. Is it worth it to see Michael Keaton? Yeah, probably. I guess. I don't know. It's difficult to really recommend it. He's good in this. And the scenes with him are very good. Some of it's very on the nose, though. And there's lots of scenes that feel like they've been stitched together, where the pace just sort of crumbles a little bit. The music's really good. Not the visual effects. The visual effects are terrible. But the set piece designs are great. They actually built a Batcave for this, if I remember rightly. They rebuilt or built a practical Batwing, because the original one only had one seat. This now has 3. There's all these elements that they really did put money into. And then a lot where they put no money in. Like 50 pence. Like terrible money. Bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. But there's a lot of heart to this film. I'm kind of rambling a little bit. I mean, we're at, 8 minutes now. I am kind of rambling a little bit. But there's a lot of heart in this film. But it doesn't quite stick the landing, because it has been reshot to oblivion. And it has been reshot to oblivion. The end sequence, where there's lots of cameos and you figure out who's in the Speed Force, all these kind of things, it doesn't quite gel. And it's not worth it to see all these cameos. They're not that good. There is a cameo of Christopher Reeve's Superman. It's really shit visual effects. It's really shit visual effects. The cameo of Nicolas Cage Superman. These cameos are only snapshots. You just see them briefly, and they're like, ooh, wow, because they're, and I know that's a slight spoiler. Doesn't have any impact on the story, and it's very underwhelming. So I don't mind revealing that without a warning, because I'd actually like you to be forewarned before seeing them, because they are terrible CGI. Like, holy shit, god-awful CGI. So, very underwhelming. But basically, there's a good film in there somewhere. Is this a really good film? No. Is it worthwhile paying God knows how much money it is now to go to the theatres? I don't know. I don't begrudge watching it. I didn't feel the pace, the runtime. It felt like it cruised along quite nicely. But is it worthwhile watching this? If you're a massive Michael Keaton fan, perhaps. But it's not a great superhero film. And I do feel like a lot of these movie studios are running on empty with this superhero genre now. Because a lot of this stuff is paint by numbers. A lot of it is paint by numbers. and I feel like they're kind of running out of ideas. So I think, you know, that's where superhero fatigue comes from, is just this constant rehashing. Because there's a lot of rehash. I mean, this is just Flashpoint cross with Man of Steel, like, and Cameo the movie. That is basically what this is. But some of it will definitely put a smile on your face. Some of it's funny. Ezra Miller does actually give a good performance. So realistically, can't wholeheartedly recommend it. That's on you, of course. But if you're that way inclined to go and watch it and judge, go and watch it for yourself and judge. There'll be plenty of people down below in the comments that will be singing this film's praises. I'm well aware of that. I'm not going to say I hate it. I'm not going to say I absolutely loved it. I'm very much somewhere in the middle. I would give this like a 5 or 6 out of 10. There you go. I don't normally do 10 out of 10 ratings. I don't normally do out of 10 ratings, but I'll give you a rating to round this review up and actually give you some substance rather than my ramble. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below if you've seen this film. Again, there'll be lots of people singing this film's praises. I don't think this will be a massive success for Warner Brothers. There, I said it. But let me know what you thought down below. Cheers, guys. Take care.